former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has officially resigned from the People's Democratic Party. Again, yeah, that's the second time he was resigning as a member of the PDP just ahead of the 2027 general elections. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's resignation letter dated July the 14th and made public yesterday cites irreconcilable differences and a loss of faith in the party's current trajectory. Now, this is Atiku's third exit from the PDP. He previously left in 2006 and 2014, only to return later. But this time, it feels different as he appears to be spearheading a coalition under the African Democratic Congress alongside other heavyweights like Peter Obi, Nasir El-Rufai, and Rotimi Amaechi. Although Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has expressed no fear over the ongoing African Democratic Congress coalition by some notable politicians in the country.
Well, the governor said the development could not affect the progress of his party, the People's Democratic Party, in any manner. The big question is, what does this mean for the PDP, and how will this affect the unity of the opposition party ahead of the elections in 2027? Joining us for this discussion is Senior Political Assistant to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. We do have Mr. Demola Olarewaju, who joins us live. Mr. Demola, thank you so much for being here. I do recall that while you were here with us in the studios, you have been a staunch supporter of the People's Democratic Party, holding faith that it would not be naked nor stripped off. It will remain as a very viable and strong opposition. But it seems like some things are starting to change. What's going on?
Thank you, Joe. Good morning. Good morning to you guys. I think over the last couple of months, it's been very, very clear to everybody that the PDP has become it has not been able to differentiate itself from the APC in every regard. It has not been able to live up to the role of opposition that is expected of it. It has not generally fulfilled the aspirations of Nigerians. And so, so when last I was there in the studio, I did say that the PDP needed to resolve the internal contradictions within its ranks. The internal contradictions being some members of the party serving with the APC ruling party, and some members of the party out that they would work for the re-election of the incumbent president. So I think those are the reasons why the PDP has now continued to lose faith, lose the trust of Nigerians, and lose the trust of politicians as well, including His Excellency Atiku Abubakar and some of us who have always been members of that political party.
At what point did Alhaji Atiku Abubakar decide to leave the People's Democratic Party? And I ask this because just barely 3 months ago, his media aide, Paul Ibe, was seen addressing the defection of the former vice presidential candidate of the PDP, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa. And he was, first of all, he stated that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar held no grudge or grievance against the fact that Senator Ifeanyi Okowa had left to the PDP, saying that he had the democratic freedom to align with any political party that he chose. He then went further to explain that, basically looking at the fact that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar had no intentions to move to another political party as he was with the PDP. So again, at what point did Alhaji Atiku Abubakar decide that the PDP was no longer a viable tool for his expectations or his democratic dreams for 2027?
Well, I mean, over the years, we've contested twice on platform of PDP, contested in 2019, contested in 2023. And so that has led to a lot of questions that we did not, end those elections the way it ended because of not putting in effort. 2023 made it very clear that the PDP was not a fit platform to contest nationwide elections and win. Events since then have also proven that the PDP has not been able to live up to its standard as an opposition. And Atiku Abubakar, despite his age, remains somebody who is vibrant and thought, somebody who believes very much in opposition politics, that if they are either in power doing good for the people, or we are playing the role of opposition for the benefit of the people. Okay, and so it has definitely been something on his mind that, let us have a viable opposition in the country. I want to be part of that coalition. I think the best answer to your question would be that the letter
if you can hear me, we're having an issue with your audio. Something changed at the point where you started to answer my question. So if you maybe can exit and rejoin the the chat. That'll be helpful, so we can sort out what the audio issues are. But we cannot hear you. Your voice sounds very muffled. So we're still, for those who are just joining us, you can let us know. We're going on YouTube as well to check for your comments and your reactions to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar having officially dumped the PDP and left the APC. And also recent development will be that the chief editor of the Ovation magazine, Chief Dele Momodu, has announced his defection from the PDP as well, and has now aligned himself with the ADC, saying that it's time for him to leave the carcass of the PDP at this point. I don't think that comes as a surprise to anybody, because the last time we had Chief Momodu speaking about the PDP, you could tell the fact that he no longer was
things happening.
Yes, he no longer was interested.
And I don't think it's his qualification. Well, he's entitled to his opinion. To call it a carcass of a party that still has quite a number of governors in the country, I don't think it's the right words to use. But he's entitled to his opinion. On
YouTube, we have Akinwale Akinsoya, who says freedom of association is allowed. That's true. Freedom of association is indeed allowed. But let's now bring the conversation back to our guest, Demola, who has joined us now. Demola, you were answering the question I had asked earlier, saying at what point the Alhaji Atiku Abubakar decided that he needed to leave the People's Democratic Party and was no longer a viable instrument for his democratic goals, especially because barely 3 months ago, we had his media aide, Paul Ibe, addressing this and saying that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was not leaving the PDP.
So I think that it's a result of the fact that Atiku Abubakar has run on top of PDP twice, 2019 and 2023. And in 2023, certain elements within the party supported the party, clearly show, and those same elements are vowed to work for the election of the incumbent president. And so that makes it clear that the PDP cannot distinguish itself from the APC and live up to its role as the opposition party. So that's where the problem comes from. At a specific time when these conversations started, I think the conversations about the coalition had started a long time before now. But at the time that he decided, I would say the date on the resignation letter was the date of his official resignation. And to mention or to address what Zinga was talking about as the PDP being a carcass, I think it's been the defection of those governments. Several of those governments have left openly.
To interject again, because the audio is still very poor, maybe we would have to ask you if you can disconnect from your earpiece so that we can sort out the audio as well, because we do want our audience to get the best of this so they can get to hear his answer. I mean, beyond, whilst they're trying to sort out Demola's audio, beyond looking at why this is happening now, if this was the plan all along, there's so many other areas I would like for him to address.
Oh, yes.
I would like for him to address those who are criticizing the timing of this, stating that, it should have been done, earlier. But let's go on a very quick break, and when we come back, we will try reconnecting with Demola to see if we can have an extensive conversation about the move by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We, of course, were going to still be looking at the PDP and the decision of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to jump ship, to abandon the PDP, someone who is considered one of the founding fathers of the party. We're joined this morning by Demola Olarewaju, who is a political assistant to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Thank you for staying tuned. Demola, your response to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar leaving at this time, especially when, as recently as 3 months ago, his media aide Paul Ibe had said clearly that he would not believe in the PDP. At what point was this a decision for him?
I think it had been an ongoing discussion, basically based on the analysis of the 2019 and the 2023 elections, where he ran on the PDP platform, and we could clearly see that the results of those elections were not as a result of his not putting in the effort. He put in the effort, but as seen clearly in 2023, there was a lot of sabotage within the party. So those discussions are clearly being on for the sake of Nigerians, because the PDP has not lived up to its role as an opposition party. And so, a lot of patriots across various political parties have been in those discussions for a while for the sake of Nigerians, that how do we distinguish ourselves from the APC? And so, for me, the PDP has glaringly failed to live up to the standard of opposition, and it is important that those politicians seize the bull by the horns at this point in time. And I find it remarkable, really, that despite, his age, His Excellency Atiku is still at the forefront of this, is still able to champion this, is still, desirous of working within the system to create the change or to create the kind of leadership that Nigerians want. So I think it is commendable. And as to what I heard Benga mention as regards PDP being a carcass, the governors who are in PDP presently, the truth is, you've seen the defections over the last couple of weeks and months into the APC, because most of them clearly know that the PDP is no longer fit for purpose, can no longer win elections nationwide, can no longer play the role of opposition. And so you will see, so there's a need to create that opposing force, that opposition force, which is, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as against the APC. So what you will see in the PDP over the next coming weeks also, you will see some governors move into the ADC to play the opposition role, and you will see some governors move into the APC to attempt to use the federal might to truncate the will of Nigerians in 2027.
Paul Ibe was aware at the time that this was being said, and he was just being a politician when he was saying that he had no intentions of leaving the party. Is that, again, furthering the narrative about how politicians already have their plans in place, but when they come out, they tell us a different story, and there's no fire without a smoke?
No. I think Mr. Paul Ibe's statement was clear. His statement was clear. As at that time, there were discussions on how the nature of the coalition would be. So Mr. Paul Ibe's claims were his position was very clear in the sense that there was no intent at the time. And that's why I said that the date that he left is the date that he left, which is July 14, 2025. Right. Any other discussion before then, nothing was set in stone until the day that he actually put pen to paper. So, my Oga Paul Ibe is not a politician, he's a straight shooter, a journalist, and one of high repute. Just
to be clear, Mr. Olarewaju, it was Chief Dele Momodu that described the PDP as a carcass of its self. But I want to take you up on your principle. He will be 80 in 2027, and he's contested for the presidency a number of times. And critics have said, is it not time for him to play the role of an elder statesman? So his resignation from the PDP, is it to further his personal ambition, or is it part of his nation-building efforts? And can you confirm if he has presidential ambitions? Because some of the criticism of the ADC is that, it can't work because you have so many members that want to be president and too many chefs, like they say, spoils the broth.
Well, we are all here, all four of us here want to talk. But the only person who gets to talk part time is the one who we all agree can talk. So when you say Demola can talk, I then talk. When when you say stop talking, I then. So what I'm saying is aspirations clashing in politics, it's normal. That is a sign of a healthy and vibrant political party. The aspirations in the ADC show clearly that the ADC is a living entity. It's a living political entity. Whoever wins the ticket, all the others will rally around them and support them. As to His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, I think that, I find it very positive that at his age he is still contributing to nation building. This is someone who's 80, as you said, he's going to be 80, and he is still at the forefront of the opposition movement. Again, and you see younger politicians, who are taking ministerial appointments, taking ambassadorial appointments, rather than helping the PDP to become a viral opposition. I think, he could easily have said, I want to retire home, I want to retire into a life of luxury, after serving Nigeria for so long. But for him to still be at the forefront is two things. Number one, the desire to serve the country, and number two, the desire to make things right when things are going wrong. There is clearly a need for the opposition to exist. The results in 2023 showed that Atiku Abubakar commands a very large following in this country. And for him to mobilize that base against the ruling party, I think, it's something commendable for the benefit of all Nigerians.
President Bukola Saraki was saddled with the responsibility to try and bring the PDP back together. And of course, the acting national chairman, Demagogue, and not forgetting to the FCT as well, Dogora. All of these big names are starting to ensure that the party is put together in bits and pieces. Are you saying now that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has left, and of course Demola has followed suit, are we likely to see more persons leave the PDP? That's one question. Secondly, is it a case of everyone leaving as a result of wanting the party to solely belong to the FCT minister so he can do with it the way he wants or chooses?
Well, I think, yes, we are definitely going to see a lot of exits from the PDP into the ADC opposition force. The last time I was there, I mentioned that the PDP for me has now become divided into two camps. One camp wants to align with the APC, one camp wants to play the role of opposition. So those of us who want to play opposition will leave the PDP and join that ADC coalition, or behave like some of them, stay in the PDP and work for the opposition, and leave those who want to align with the government to align with the government. So yes, I believe that we'll see mass defections in the coming days from the People's Democratic Party. His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, who is a two-time presidential candidate of the party, he has shown the way, and a lot of followers all across the country will definitely follow suit. As to abandoning it to the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, I think, it's more, there will definitely be some people who will continue to contend for the soul of the party with him. It will never be, handed over or given to him to do as he pleases. But what has happened now is that we have denied him of the needed political relevance with the president, or the negotiating power with the APC, because, he has been using, that's his only leverage. That's his only reason for being in the cabinet of the APC, that he uses PDP as the leverage, and I will continue to cause trouble within the party, and that's what we've seen. So despite the best efforts of some of these people, and I think, at this point, nobody should continue to delude themselves. If Atiku father of the party, if Atiku Abubakar, as a former president candidate of the party, as a former vice president on the platform of the party, if he can courageously decide to leave, then I think anybody who is sincere about the PDP becoming an opposition party should stop this this ruse of a reconciliation, or these people cannot be appeased. This is definitely not an easy decision for Atiku. A lot of effort had gone into reconciliation. We had even moved on from the anti-party activities of 2023, okay, where the governors worked against us. We had said, okay, do you know what, can we start afresh ahead of 2027? But people within the party are desperate to keep that party in crisis mode, and that has necessitated this. So, I think that answers your question. There will be a lot of defection, and at the same time, there will be some people who will remain to contend for the soul of the party with those people who are intent on working with the APC.
My final question, and if you can answer this as quickly as possible, I'll appreciate that. You've said you've applauded Alhaji Atiku Abubakar for being courageous enough to still want to be in the forefront of, directing Nigeria's political landscape. If now that he's moved to the ADC, he does not get the party's ticket to run for office in 2027, do you think he'll be courageous enough to step aside and support whoever gets the ticket?
Yes, I can say that confidently, because I've known Atiku Abubakar. I followed his politics for a very long time. He has always been a Democrat. He lost the primaries in 2011 to Goodluck Jonathan. He stayed and worked for Goodluck Jonathan. He lost in 2015 the APC primaries to Muhammadu Buhari. He stayed and worked for Muhammadu Buhari. Wherever the process has been free and fair, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar will always support the winner who emerges in a free and fair election process. So I can say that confidently. He will support whoever wins the coalition ticket in this new arrangement in a free and fair primaries. But of course, we are confident that if he decides to run, he will definitely win.
Now, finally, some personal question. You've been a member of the PDP as long as we can remember. Are you finally going to jump ship with your principle and leave the fold of the People's Democratic Party, Demola Olarewaju?
Well, I can say that I can't answer that categorically, because my letter is written, but it has not been acknowledged. As
what are you waiting for?
So once the letter is acknowledged and received, I will then go public.
What are you waiting for?
Well, I mean, I've written the letter. It has not been acknowledged. I'm waiting for my ward chairman to acknowledge receipt of the letter.
So you've sent the letter to them.
Oh, yes, I definitely have.
Well, so that means it's as good as, equity in this case will see that which ought to be done as done, because you are as good as on your way out of the PDP. Demola Olarewaju, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We look forward to having more conversations.
And we wish you all the best in your new political endeavors. Hopefully it won't be as
Thank you very much, guys.
as it stays.
Pleasure to be with you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.